In the middle of a busy market, young Aisha tripped over a stone and fell right into the arms of a stranger. Her phone slipped from her hand, cracking on the ground, but that was not the worst part. The stranger was an old woman with eyes like deep wells, and she whispered, "Girl, you carry a storm inside you. Take this, but promise, do not open it." Aisha looked down and saw a smooth calabash in her hands tied with red string. What was inside? Why her? Her heart raced as the woman vanished into the crowd, leaving Aisha alone with a secret that burned like fire. Aisha was 22, living in the noisy town of Eldora, where tall buildings mixed with old mud houses. She worked at a small shop selling clothes, dreaming of something more. Her life was simple. Wake up, help her mom cook, go to work, chat with friends on her phone. But Aisha had a wild side. She loved stories of magic and adventure, the kind she read online late at night. Her best friend, Lina, always said, "Aisha, your head is in the clouds. One day you'll fly too high and fall." Aisha would laugh and say, "Better to fly than stay on the ground forever." That day in the market, Aisha had been rushing to buy fruits for dinner. The sun beat down hot, making sweat drip down her back. People pushed past her, men on bikes, women with baskets on their heads, kids chasing balls. The air smelled of fried fish and ripe mangoes. When the old woman gave her the calabash, Aisha felt a chill, even in the heat. The calabash was round and brown, like a big nut, with strange marks carved on it. It felt warm, almost alive. She stuffed it in her bag and hurried home. Her small house was at the edge of town, with a yard full of chickens and a big mango tree. Her mom, Mama Rose, was cooking stew when Aisha walked in. "You're late," Mama Rose said, stirring the pot. Her face was kind but tired, lines from years of hard work. Aisha's dad had died when she was little, so it was just the two of them. "Sorry, Mama, the market was crazy," Aisha said, hiding her bag. She wanted to tell her mom about the calabash, but something stopped her. That night, as they ate dinner under the stars, Aisha's mind wandered. The calabash sat in her room, under her bed. What if it had gold inside, or a map to treasure, or nothing at all? The old woman's words echoed, "Do not open it." Sleep did not come easy. The moon shone through her window, bright and full. Aisha tossed and turned. Finally, she got up, pulled out the calabash, and sat on her bed. Her fingers touched the red string. "Just a peek," she whispered. "What harm can it do?" She untied the strings slowly. The top popped open with a soft sigh, like wind through leaves. At first, nothing happened. Then a soft glow came from inside. Colors swirled, blue, green, gold, like a rainbow trapped in a bottle. Out floated tiny lights, like fireflies, dancing around her room. Aisha's eyes grew wide. One light touched her hand, and suddenly pictures filled her head. Not just pictures, memories, but not her own. She saw a young girl running through fields, laughing with friends. Then the girl grew up, fell in love, but lost her love in a storm. Pain hit Aisha like a wave. Another light brought joy, weddings, babies, dances under the moon, but mixed in were shadows, fights, lies, sadness that made her chest hurt. The calabash held feelings, not just any feelings, the forgotten emotions of people long gone, stored like seeds waiting to grow. The light spread out her window into the night. Aisha tried to catch them, but they were gone. "Oh no," she gasped. What had she done? The town of Eldora slept, but soon things would change. The next morning, Aisha awoke to screams outside. She ran out and saw her neighbor, Uncle Ben, dancing in the street. "I'm happy, so happy," he shouted, tears in his eyes. But it was not normal happy. He spun like a child, ignoring his work. Across the road, Aunt Lila sat crying over nothing. "My heart hurts," she sobbed. Aisha knew. The lights had touched them. The feelings were loose, jumping from person to person like sparks. At work, her boss yelled at everyone for small mistakes. "Why am I so angry?" he muttered. Lina, her friend, hugged Aisha tight. "I feel love everywhere today, even for strangers." But not all was good. By afternoon, fights broke out in the market. People argued over prices. Old grudges came back like ghosts. Aisha hid in the shop, her stomach twisting. This was her fault. She needed to fix it. But how? The old woman, where was she? She remembered her eyes like she knew secrets. Maybe she lived outside town, in the old forest where no one went. Aisha grabbed her bag and slipped away from work. The forest was dark even in day, with trees tall as giants and vines like snakes. Birds called warnings. Aisha walked carefully, her shoes crunching leaves. Deep in the woods, she found a small hut made of sticks and cloth. Smoke rose from a fire. The old woman sat there, stirring a pot. "You opened it," she said without looking down. Her voice was calm, like she expected this. Aisha fell to her knees. "I'm sorry, the feelings are everywhere. People are going mad. How do I stop it?" The old woman looked at her. "Child, that calabash holds the hearts of our ancestors. Joy, pain, love, hate, all balanced inside. You let them free, so now they roam. To catch them, you must face them. Go to the Hill of Whispers. There, play the song of the heart on this flute." She handed Aisha a wooden flute, carved with the same marks as the calabash. "The Hill of Whispers," she said. "That's far and dangerous." The hill was miles away, past rivers and wild animals. Stories said ghosts lived there. "Yes," the old woman said, "but you have the fire in you. Take your friend Lina. She has a strong spirit. And remember, feelings are like rivers. They flow, but you can guide them." Aisha nodded, scared but determined. She ran back to town and found Lina at the cafe, sipping tea. "Lina, I need your help. It's crazy, but trust me." She told her everything, the calabash, the lights, the chaos.
Lina's eyes sparkled. "An adventure? Like in movies? I'm in!" Lina was brave, always ready for fun. She had short hair and a laugh that made people smile. Together, they packed bags with food, water, and flashlights. Mama Rose worried when Aisha said they were visiting a cousin, but she let them go. They left at dawn, walking along the dusty road. Cars zoomed past, but soon the road turned to dirt. The sun climbed high, making them sweat. They talked to pass time. "Why do you think the old woman chose me?" Aisha asked. "Maybe because you're curious," Lina said. "Like me. We don't like boring lives." On the way, they met an old man with a donkey, walking slowly. "Where are you going, girls?" he asked, his face full of wrinkles, but kind. "To the Hill of Whispers," Aisha replied. His eyes widened. "Ah, the place of truths. I went there once, long ago when I was young like you. I opened a forbidden door and released doubts that haunted me for years. But on the hill, I sang them away." "How?" Lina asked, leaning closer. "With honest words," he said. "Speak your fears out loud and they lose their power." He shared some dates and nuts from his bag, sweet and filling. They thanked him and walked on, his words staying in their hearts like a warm light. By noon, they reached a wide, fast river. An old rope bridge hung there, swaying in the wind. As they stepped on it, a strong feeling hit them. Fear. One of the loose lights had found them again. Aisha's knees shook. "I'm so scared," she whispered. "Me too," Lina said, her voice trembling. But then Aisha remembered the old man's words. "I'm afraid of failing everyone," she said out loud. "I'm afraid I'll never fix this." The fear started to fade. Lina spoke next. "I'm afraid of being alone forever." The bridge stopped shaking so much. They held hands and crossed safely. "It worked," Lina cheered. They had learned the power of speaking truths. They walked on through tall grass fields where lions might hide. Once they heard a distant roar but kept moving. Later, near the hill, wild dogs appeared, circling with low growls and glowing eyes. The fear light came back stronger, but Aisha and Lina stood together. I'm afraid of losing my mom, Aisha said clearly. I'm afraid my dreams will never come true, Lena added. The dogs backed away and ran off into the grass. The girls hugged, feeling stronger. At night, they camped under bright stars, eating bread and fruit. Aisha tried the flute a little. Soft, beautiful notes came out, like a gentle song. This will bring them back, she said hopefully. The next day brought rain, turning paths to mud. Their shoes got stuck, but they laughed and helped each other. Finally, the Hill of Whispers came into view, tall, green, and covered in mist at the top. They climbed slowly. Thorns scratched their legs. Halfway up, more lights attacked. Joy made them dance and laugh wildly. Then anger came. Aisha felt mad at the world, at her dad's death, at everything hard in life. She almost shouted at Lena. But Lena grabbed her hand. It's not real. Fight it with words. Aisha breathed deep. I am angry, but I choose peace. The anger left. Then sadness hit like heavy rain. They both cried, for lost family, for hard times. They sat on wet rocks, sharing stories until the sadness passed. Near the top, hope was hiding. They searched and found it in a small cave, a bright, warm, golden light. Aisha had to face her own lost hopes. I stopped dreaming big after Dad died. I stayed small and safe. Lena smiled. But now you're on an adventure. Grab it. Aisha reached out and caught the hope light. It filled her with warmth. At the summit, the mist cleared. A flat rock waited with amazing views of rivers, forests, and towns far below. Aisha lifted the flute and played the Song of the Heart. She didn't know the notes at first, but they came naturally, sweet, strong, full of remorse and love. The lights swirled around them, all the feelings returning: joy, pain, love, hate, fear, hope. They rushed back into the calabash, which suddenly appeared in Aisha's hands. The top sealed itself with a soft click. But something more happened. As the last note faded, a hidden path opened nearby. Curious, the girls walked in. Inside was a beautiful chamber with walls painted in old drawings, people dancing at weddings, fighting in battles, holding babies, crying at funerals, life in all its colors. In the center was a clear pool of water, shining like glass. Look, Lena whispered. They leaned over. The water showed not their faces, but glimpses of the future. Aisha saw herself traveling to big cities, teaching children stories. She saw hard times too, sickness, struggles, but also happiness. Lena saw her small business growing big, helping many people in the village.
Shadows of bad days lurked at the edges, warnings. We must choose our path carefully, Aisha said. They dipped their hands in the pool and each pulled out a smooth stone. Aisha's stone felt calm. She knew it held the lesson of patience. Lona's felt strong. It held courage. As they left the chamber, the path closed behind them. Stars began falling from the sky like gentle rain, a beautiful sign that everything was right again. The journey home took 2 days, but it felt easier. They helped people along the way, a lost child in the fields guiding him home, an old woman's broken cart pushing it to the road. Their kindness spread, just like the feelings once did, but in a good way. Back in Eldora, everything was normal again. No more wild dances or sudden fights. People felt balanced, though they didn't know why. Aisha returned the calabash to the old woman in the market one day. You learned well, the woman said with a smile. Feelings need balance. So does life. Years passed, and Aisha's life grew beautiful. The stone of patience became her talisman. She kept it in her pocket. When Mama Rose got very sick one season, Aisha held the stone, stayed calm, and found the best medicine in town. Mama Rose recovered slowly.
"You are my hero, my daughter," she said, hugging Aisha tight. Lena used her courage stone to start her shop selling beads, cloths, and art with stories woven into them. At first it was hard, few customers, but she kept going. Soon the shop boomed. "This adventure on the hill gave me strength," she told Aisha. Aisha met Kofi, a kind man who drove a taxi but dreamed of writing books. They fell in love slowly, talking long hours under the mango tree. "Your eyes hold whole stories," he told her one evening. They married in the yard under that same tree, with the whole town coming to dance and eat. No one saw, but the old woman was there in the shadows, leaving a single flower that never wilted. 2 boys came soon, bright, energetic sons full of questions. Every night, Aisha told them bedtime stories about the Calabash and the hill. "Never open something you are not ready for," she warned gently, "but always face your feelings with honest words." Little Jamal, the younger one, was most like her, curious and brave. One night, he dug up an old jar in the yard. "Mama, what's inside?" he asked, eyes wide. Aisha smiled softly. "We'll find out together, my son, but carefully, with wisdom." Lena visited often, bringing gifts and laughter. "Remember crossing that scary river or the wild dogs?" "How could I forget?" Aisha would laugh. They planned small trips to the sea, to nearby mountains, making new memories. Aisha helped start a library in town, full of books about real life and a little magic. She began a group for young people where they shared stories, dreams, and pains. Healing happened there, just like on the hill. Lena joined, drawing bright pictures of their adventure to hang on the walls. Kofi wrote a book called The Calabash Girl, telling their whole story. It sold in markets and inspired many. The boys read it and beamed. "Mama, you are a hero," Aisha laughed. "We all are in our own way." The town changed for the better. More schools, better roads, bigger festivals with dances that remembered the ancestors. Seasons came and went. Hot suns, heavy rains, green crops. One rainy night, the old woman visited Aisha in a dream. "Well done, child. The balance holds." Aisha woke up smiling, feeling peace. Life went on with work, love, family, and laughs. There were hard days, but always that spark of wonder. One day, many years later, a young girl came to teach Aisha in the library. "Miss Aisha, I found something strange in the market." In her small hand was a box tied with red string, just like the calabash long ago. Aisha's heart skipped a beat, remembering everything. She smiled gently. "Come, sit. Tell me all about it." And as the girl began to speak, Aisha knew. The adventure of feelings, balance, and facing truths would continue. Maybe with this new girl, maybe with her own sons one day. Adventures never truly end. They wait quietly like a sealed calabash for the next person ready to learn. What about you, listener? If you found something mysterious, tied with string and full of secrets, would you open it right away? Or would you wait, speak your fears, and choose wisely? Think about it, because stories like this, they live in all of us.